Well, it's December 17th, 2025, going on 2:30 in the afternoon. Today's a teaching moment, so I needed to go ahead and make a journal entry today as I'm taking my first break and feeling very tropical with my beer hug and this shirt that I found, which also reminds me of beer hug. And the temperature is just right. But, really got, something that's a little bit troubling to actually document today. But before I do that, I just want to make note of the progress that I have been making on my mission that is otherwise keeping me occupied, and help me keep my sanity in spite of the possible advent of World War III. Oh look, so I made I got this part right here. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a ladder going up to that deck up there. Hey. And then that deck up there goes across over there. Right? Over there like that. And so that is the T. That's what that's how I that's how I braced it. How I decided to brace it. And kind of all came to me as I was building. It's not like I didn't draw any plans to plan it out or anything. So, but I'm going to route this. And look, okay, so it attaches to my seat way over here. Look, that I made way over there. All right, and see, and I can go from that seat right there up, and then over. Okay, or I can climb. I made it so I could, climb it. And then up, okay? All the way to the top. All the way to the top, okay? All the way to the top, okay? And I've already climbed it. So I can do it. And now what I'm going to do, and it goes all the way over. And then I can get up to the very top level by that. So I can at least get up there before I actually make the climbing wall. And and let's see what else now. Oh, okay, and I'm gonna route this. Right. I'm gonna route all these because I already wasn't looking where I was going and walked in, hit my head on one of these. Anyway, so I'm probably paint them. I'll paint them the closest thing to yellow that I got, or red. But I'm gonna route them, the edges, make them round, and I'm getting pretty close to actually, start constructing like how I'm gonna make the climbing wall, and it'd be pretty cool if I could make it out of, rock, stone, but I might have to make it out of wood. I'm not sure. And so anyway, look, let's see. All right, and Barney coming to meet me. Hey, dog, baby. And so I wanted to, actually just, make note on the times that we're in, because one thing is, you can never say never, and don't ever say it won't happen, or it won't happen to you. And so that's because, look, when I when I was I had got hit by a forklift, and I was building these modular schoolhouses, and I got hit by a forklift, and then so I broke my, and that forklift broke my pelvis, and because I was building a desk for this modular schoolhouse, and the forklift, they had to put brake fluid in it every morning, and they didn't put, the guy that got on it, hopped on it, he didn't put any brake fluid in it that morning, and so he whipped it around backwards, and he was going backwards, okay, and he hit the brakes. The brakes didn't work because they didn't put brake fluid in. Nobody did that morning, and I was building a desk right there, and he ran right into me with the back end of that forklift, pushed me right through a pile of wood, and I broke my pelvis, or that forklift broke my pelvis. All right, and so I was off work, but then I decided not to go back to that job, and I didn't really know about insurance, and so, you know, and my Adam and Amber's mom, who I was married to at the time, she was pregnant with Amber. And so when I quit that job and got another job, I didn't have any insurance anymore, because at that time the law was that if you had a pre-existing condition, then they didn't have to give you insurance. Okay, that law was changed during Obama, but at that time that was what the deal was. So I had no insurance, and then I had quit that job, and so, you know, we talked about stuff, and the only thing I could do was that I felt was join the military, because they would cover Adrian's medical bills and deliver our baby, which was Amber, my daughter Amber. And so my dad didn't want me to join the military, and he told me, he said, look, he said, as soon as you join the military, he said, if you enlist, as soon as you enlist, sure as heck gonna come a war, and a war is gonna start. And I said, no, it ain't happening. Everything seemed pretty normal to me, you know? And as sure as I'm alive today, that's exactly what happened. So after I got out of A school and got assigned to the John F. Kennedy, I wasn't on that ship very long, and we were deployed for the Gulf War. And that's how that went down. So you never can say it won't happen to you, or you never can say never. And now they are talking about World War III, because America is switching things up and not actually staying on the side of democracy, and our North Atlantic NATO, North Atlantic, I don't know, it's the North Atlantic Alliance, and it's America and Europe, and Ukraine has already given up on NATO. So, because America basically pulled out of NATO, and America is not even siding with Ukraine anymore, and it's all because of Trump's corruption. It really makes me really, really angry. Okay, and this Witkoff guy, you know, the ambassador to Russia, who's just trying to make a deal Look, man, it's all personal to these guys. They ain't got nothing to do with security. This is so utterly corrupt. And he's found out. He's found out. Witkoff is found out. But you heard, I put out Warren Buffett, what he said. And he is talking about, because of Trump's, the monster of Mar-a-Lago. Look, I'm not going to repeat all that. I'm not going there. Where I'm going is, I'm just going to play. Now they're appealing actually even to what's called the Christian psyche, because the Christians have a concept of an eschatological kind of mindset and prepared for the end of times, because the Bible talks about the end of times, and there's a lot of people that talk about the end of times. When I was, this is before the year 2000, okay? I remember him saying during the year 2000, that's when the rapture was going to take place, because God says 1 day is like 1,000 years, and took 6 days to make the world and humans, and seventh day rested. And so seventh day of rest is 1,000 years of peace, and then the 6,000 mark time, okay? Well, then that's, like the year 2000 is supposed to be like, right there. Like year 2000, and then that's the Great Tribulation and the rapture of the church and the Great Tribulation, and then the 1,000 years of peace. Yeah. They got a whole, there's a whole Bible. There's a name for this. Dispensationalism. This dispensations comes from Scholefield's Bible. Became very popular like before the 50s. And anyway, look, they got people that, say they got this stuff figured out, but the thing is that you have to understand, okay, that governments and people that actually run the countries and the world and stuff like that, they know that they can influence people through their religious beliefs more than anything else. And so if they can get them to believe that the end of time is predicted in the Bible and it's coming now, see? If they can get them to believe that, then then that belief is so founded because in their feelings and rooted in their reality, because that's what they believe and that's what they've been taught. So, I'm not playing the whole part of this thing, but, he says something like the only way that they can get a hold of Donald Trump is through this, right? Now, and they're talking about in Europe now, they're starting to tell people from the top on down, okay, prepare for World War III. The thing is, in America, they want to keep people stupid. That's why you should always listen to what other countries are saying about America. So, but actually, the point of what I was wanting to talk about is about reading between the lines and understanding nuance. Okay, but and that's actually where I wanted to go, because there is in the Bible they have there's one part it talks about the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, faith, temperance, patience, meekness. Okay, that's like fruit of the Spirit, right? But there's also gifts of the Spirit, and they talk about that. So anybody that actually, studies the Bible will understand this. Okay, gifts of the Spirit. See, you don't really get that anywhere else, like in American society unless, you know, you're looking at the Bible. Like, I don't even think that, like, but anyway, some of the gifts of the Spirit, one of them that I was thinking about, okay, is the gift of discernment. And that's when you're thinking about, like, who you're going to make a leader and stuff like that, you got to try to use as much intelligence as you can use, and look beyond, like, the title of the book, all right? You got to look beyond the cover of the book, all right? Yeah, you got to actually, and you got to look at the nuances of what people say, okay? And Trump, you know, he's been doing that, okay? He has been really, like, with Trump, okay? You got to read between the lines, okay? And you got to look at his actions more than his words. And you got to look at the actions of everything and the end result of stuff, you know, more than the propaganda and the words. All right, so this is here. I'm gonna do this part here first. Okay.
Obviously, nothing else is working with Trump. So what they're making it clear, and it's the reality, not just a negotiating framework, that they are saying in their countries. We've had the leader of MI6, first female leader, by the way, in the UK, the C. We did a video on her this morning. That's what they call the leader of MI6. You have these intelligence agencies and leaders in other European countries. And they're all saying, prepare your sons and daughters for a world war. This is what they're saying in Europe. Prepare them for a world war because one's going to start very soon. And that message is being sent also back. And it's ratcheted up in the past week also. And why? Because Donald Trump has given Ukraine the Russian ultimatum of you need to give all of Donbass, Ukraine, to Putin. Basically carve out most of eastern Ukraine that Russia has not been able to take over, and give it to Putin. And that's it. And then we have a deal.
Well, there's more to that deal, right? All the rare earth mineral rights. Yeah. They want, obviously, the oil that's there in the Donbass. They want it all. Yeah. They want everything. That 20-point plan is not a peace plan. It is a surrender declaration.
Yeah. So, you have that taking place right now, you know, as well.
Okay, I just wanted to get that clip on there, right there on this, because they're talking about World War III. And, you know, America is really kind of caused the whole damn thing. And see, the ironical thing is, it's the Christians' fault. It's the Christians' fault. Because the Christians couldn't read between the lines. You know, the Christians couldn't see through Donald Trump's bluff. They overlooked everything that was published about him. Everything. And they still put him in office because of his bluff. Well, the Christians put him in office, okay? And because, I mean, that's well documented. That's absolute fact. And so, you know, it's just ironic. And that's why it seems to me that if there is actually God in charge, looking down and examining everything, and it's like a big movie and play for God, or whatever is trying to be proven or tested, whatever it is, okay, well, it is very apparent that God will mock the proud. And God will mock the greedy and the hypocrites. And the Christians have been proven to be hypocrites, standing behind the name of Jesus Christ, who they don't even really know. And I'm not saying that's about everybody, okay? But I'm saying that this is a documented fact. The Christians put the monster of Mar-a-Lago into the Oval Office, which is now considered to be the house for the criminally insane. Because everybody that works in the Oval Office in this administration is basically criminally insane. And if they haven't done criminal acts already, well, I don't know of anybody who hasn't. So, the lies, the propaganda. Okay, so now I'm going to put this on pause because I want to pivot to my last part where I actually wanted to bring out a certain teaching moment, because it is really a teaching moment, okay? I'm going to put this on pause. All right, now I'm going to put on here Cohen reading this post that Trump put out recently about Rob Reiner, who was killed. And this is the part of my second part here.
Whether it was for the first time or second time or wherever you saw it, that post by President Trump regarding Rob Reiner, this one, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. I mean, I'm dying to know, Ben, when you saw this, what was the first thing you thought?
It's an unfortunate thought.
Through his massive...
All right, I'm just going to read the rest of you. Okay, about the part. Mind-corrupting disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all expectations of greatness and something about the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. So, okay, look, you got to read between the lines here in this post of Trump's, and you got to listen to the nuance of what is being said. Okay, the way that he presents this is from Donald J. Trump, and he talks about himself in the third person. Okay, that's one point why he's crazy. Okay, why you can know he's crazy. But he says, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away. Okay? For one thing, Rob Reiner didn't pass away. For another thing, just to put the context out here, Rob Reiner is the guy that made the movies, the movie When Harry Met Sally, and he also did Princess Bride, which is like a favorite. Like in When Harry Met Sally, that's like a favorite too. It makes people happy. Rob Reiner made people happy. He wasn't a tortured and struggling person. But Trump is saying this because he's just trying to talk meanly about somebody, and they just got killed. And they got killed. The father got killed by his son with a knife, and his wife. I don't know why. They said his son was messed up on drugs. It had nothing to do with anything political. He didn't get killed because he had Trump derangement syndrome. A crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. He's making it sound like because he had this Trump derangement syndrome crippling disease that he was so tortured, and because he bothered people so much because he had this Trump derangement syndrome, that he was killed and he just passed away. And just the way that he puts this just shows and proves the substance of what he hopes for, which is sick. So he's got a very sick mind. And he thinks everything is about him. And so, see, this is synchronistic for me because I just got done, like journaling, and marking it down, all right, that, when people go crazy, is because they start thinking, that everything is about them. And that's what Trump is right now. He's thinking everything is about him. So, I started this out, that we could be heading for World War III. And you can blame it on the Christians. And I am a Christian, so. But I was never that stupid because I never got confused by Trump and his bullshit. But, I'm not here to criticize people that have too much because, look, everybody makes mistakes and, is misled. And that's the whole bottom line, and we're in this together. That's what, the Bible teaches, if it teaches anything good at all, which it does. Of all the good things that the Bible teaches, that one is right there at the top, okay? And like I say, that is the reason why Jesus taught us how to pray. Forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And see the nuance. The nuance is in discernment. We have to learn to always pay attention and read between the lines and listen to what people say. And I think that this is case in point, okay? Trump's post here is case in point, okay? This is why you have to actually listen to actually what he said. And I don't think that there's really anybody, unless if they're completely depraved and of a sick mind, they is so has their sensibilities and sensitivities so numbed and befuddled that they can't see what Trump said about a person who actually brought a lot of happiness and joy into people's lives through his movies, and was not known for what Trump is calling Trump derangement syndrome when he is Donald Trump. And this is why he is a sick person as president. And the bottom line when we look at this has got to be, who was it that put the monster of Mar-a-Lago into office? Who was it? It was us. And Sun Tzu says, you must take responsibility for what you did. Look, we could be heading for World War III. And you can't say it won't happen. I said that once and I was proven wrong. And we all are proven wrong. And America has been proven wrong. And now it behooves us to repent and try to make the world a better place, if we can. So it takes discernment and the ability to read between the lines, and for Christians to actually be the proof in the pudding. But anyway, that's it.